Hello and welcome to the Daily Atheist Morning Show. It is Wednesday, the 22nd of July, 2020. Are you excited? I'm excited. It is hump day. I'm a weekend fan still. I know the cooties doesn't really allow people to enjoy the weekend quite like they used to for those of us who are home all the time, but I still enjoy the weekend and we're halfway there. So, made it. Good morning, everybody. I want to say hi and welcome my co-host this morning, Ethan Micheal. Good morning, Ethan. How are you doing this morning?
Hey, Chris. How are you?
I'm doing good. You having a good week so far? Busy, I know.
Yeah, definitely been a very busy week, especially with my day job. Been working a lot, so I'm too busy, but things are going well.
Awesome sauce. That's good. Let me bring on our guest this morning, Chris, the atheist pastor. Haven't seen you in a while. You've been off hiding. Good morning, Chris.
It has been way too long, mate. Way too long. How are you?
I'm doing great.
How are you doing, mate?
You've been off hiding. Good morning, Chris.
It has been way. Oh, I just heard myself, and it wasn't my fault that time.
It wasn't me.
I apologize.
As long as it's moving in a not my fault direction.
My audio, like going back into my computer, that's how I do the call-ins, and unfortunately, I don't have the video on silent, so it just sent the YouTube video back.
Gotcha. Well, we got it.
I'm
yes.
disappointed. It's normally me that comes in and does something like that. So I feel like I've been replaced.
Yeah. Hey, wait. It's my job to screw up the intros. I do it every day. Okay, right?
So Ethan, you're upsetting everyone here, mate.
See, yeah, you're screwed up because I did it right today. Today I did it right. I didn't even have to stop and look or nothing. I was in the right month, the right year, the right day. I was so proud. I was giddy when I brought Ethan in. I'm like, I've done this right. And then Ethan, what did you do to me, brother? What did you do? Anyway, good morning, guys. Thank you for joining me. I want to take a moment and say hi to the chat. Good morning, everybody. Paul Cammish is here. I just saw you pop in, Paul. Good morning. I hope you're doing all right. The Rage is here. Nakasuchi. Hey, Nakasuchi. Need to get back you back on the show. Yeah, he's here. Kristin, best name ever. The most amazing Kristin is here. Nice to have you, Kristin. And of course, there's that Ethan character. You got to watch out for him. He's sneaky. Oh, hi, Ethan. Samuel David, nice to have you back again on the in the chat, joining us. Trina DeLuca, Jay is here. VJ from the Nevermore Tavern. That guy is here. It's nice to have you. I know. It's crazy. Nice to have you, Jay. Epileptic Skeptic, all you wonderful people. KCA Randy, thank you all for joining us. The Damnation. You guys are wonderful. I also want to take a moment before we get started. I got into where I do this. We go out on a lot more Facebook pages, and a lot of Facebook pages see us. I want to say hi to all the Facebook people who we can't chat with. If you want to chat, there's a link in your description. Pop over to my YouTube and watch us on YouTube, and you'll be able to chat with us. So hi to you guys. And every day I have to, because we're atheists and even we can talk about puppies and kittens. It doesn't matter. YouTube is going to demonetize my video and I'm going to have to click review. And there's a person is going to have to, from YouTube is going to have to go back and watch this video. Good morning to you, YouTube employee. Nice to have you along for the ride. Hello, everybody.
Do they have to watch the whole video from start to finish?
You know, I don't know. I would believe if I would think they would. Up until the point where they find a violation. When they, if they're 2 minutes in, they find a violation, done. I wouldn't think they'd have to watch after that.
Right.
I don't know. YouTube reviewer, if you don't mind commenting below.
I think the way it works is the algorithm picks up, if something naughty gets said, and they'll just watch that very brief bit to go, yes, you're okay. No, you're not. So, it depends who you get.
I actually had a video taken down once on my that weekly Monday night dating show I do. We were talking about sex, and I showed a screenshot of a toy, but it was completely appropriate. And next thing I know, in the middle of a stream, everything gets shut down. I'm like, what the heck? So I had to go back and contest it. And they did put the video back up, but it totally killed my stream, dude.
Yeah, absolutely killed the flow. I had a video stream. Yeah, technology. I had a stream get killed right in the middle of the stream, and that was whenever I had this teens Trump in Tulsa, and that was the topic. And we were in the middle of talking about all the stuff that went on with that. I don't know how long we were, 20, 25 minutes into the show, and YouTube kills my stream going, it's inappropriate or something. I challenged it, and they restored the video, never apologized, nothing. So it's weird. I don't know.
Google don't apologize for anything.
but you figured they would explain or something. It just magically appeared back in there,
Okay.
Real quick, kittens. Someone posted in the comment that we could talk about kittens. There is a new dating app for cat lovers. It's called Tabby, Tabby. I don't know anything about it, but I'm checking that out. That's pretty cool.
There you go. Hans, nice to have you with us, Hans. Yes, fur babies and wiggle butts are always, always welcome on the show. I don't mean to be rude about this. I would rather have your pet on the show, whomever you are, doesn't matter. I would rather have your pet on the show in most instances. Yeah. If you pull the dog in, never once has anybody gone, oh, darn, get that dog off the street. Never once has that happened. They're all like, oh, look at the puppy dog, the fur baby. I even started leaving my door open. If one of them walks by, I'll grab it like a fish, and I'll put it on the screen. So feel free to put your wiggle butts and your fur babies up on the screen. Folk love it. I love it. Anyway, so I want to. What's that?
How can you not?
I know, absolutely. I got some questions for you. I want to talk about. Yeah, I know the delay because you're supposedly on the other side of the world.
No, it's just the super secret island that we're floating on. We're just around the other side at the moment, so it's delays. We're beaming the moon into the sky, all that kind of stuff.
That's probably what it is. Beaming the moon into the sky takes so much power. I'm sure it delays all your stuff. Yeah,
it does, but that's okay because it's the New World Order does supply us with the secret power cells from the lizard people, so it all works. Yeah.
Hail lizard people. Hail lizard people.
Yes, I for one welcome our new overlords.
Of course. I want to, before we get, of course, we're going to talk a little bit about the weed, the cannabis today. I want to visit with Chris about and get his opinions. Do y'all have cannabis in Australia? Have you heard of the devil's lettuce?
I believe I read about it in a book once, and I might have been at a party and there was a funny smelling cigarette once. Yes, we do have it here. It's not legal. It's not legal. Well,
I thought y'all were enlightened.
We're pretty enlightened with just about everything else. It's look, we've got such a big beer culture here. I think that anything that tries to come into beer's space, there's a fight on. It looks as though we're probably in the process of seeing it legalized for medicinal purposes at some point. It's a bit funny here. It's funnier if you smoke it. I can neither confirm nor deny that. Like I said, I think I might have gotten a smell once at a pass. I saw someone asked if I'd ever been to Ninbin, and Ninbin is the marijuana capital of the world.
Oh, really?
I did
not know that.
It is. Yeah, it's probably the one place in Australia where yes, it's not legal, but if you're in Ninbin, no one's going to say anything because it's the entire town is basically built around it. It's like it's the hippie capital of Australia. So I may have gotten through, might have driven through there once, but just on my way to somewhere else.
There's this comment in the chat that I really have to point out. Best name ever, Kristin says. So how about a stream with the Daily Atheist, on the Daily Atheist morning show with the atheist pastor, the blazing wizard pope, Christian Watkins, Christy Powers, and Kristin. And then we would have the Christian, Christy, and Kristin show. Say that 6 times fast. That would be fascinating. Yes. Bunch of heathens all going to hell. We're all going to hell. Good morning, Casa Mufasa. Nice to have you with us, the sassy heathen. Hello. Nice to have you joining us this morning. Mindy, she helped co-host one of these days on the show. Is the fake Chris going to vote for Biden? That's a question. Is the fake Chris? Which one's who? Who's the fake Chris?
That would be me. That would be me.
Oh, are you the fake Chris?
I'm from the fake country that doesn't exist. So I think that's in reference to a video I put out a couple of months ago. It was titled "Why I Won't Be Voting for Joe Biden." It was, and the amount of hate I got from it, and the premise of the video is I basically got on and said, because I'm from Australia, so stop bugging me with your political ads. And I remember I got called a Nazi, I got called a fascist, I got called everything. I'm just like, you probably want to watch the video before you start into me. But and there was a few people who did, and a few people who went, okay, yep, you got me. Well done. Yeah. And then there was a few that just doubled down. It's just like, well, there's some people who will just go on the attack for no reason.
Yeah. I bet that was fun. American pig dog. Wait. I mean, Australian pig dog.
I knew exactly what was going. If it helps, I'm also not going to vote for Trump for the same reason.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, I would hope.
You'll be happy to know that. So, or maybe not happy. I don't know. It depends which way your political boat floats, I guess. But it's funny. It's I've had a few conversations lately where I've had to say and no offense to Americans, but America isn't the center of the world. It's actually kind of to the left a bit. Yeah, I know.
What? You're breaking up. I don't know. The words that were coming out of your mouth. Say that again. Just slower, maybe. The United States is not the center of the world? There's
other countries. There really is.
Save your lies for the divorce. That's horrible. Making this funny stuff up. All right, fine. I don't normally let woo on my show, but go ahead with your America's not the center of the world. Crap.
Now back to the lizard people.
The lizard people.
I had a bit of a laugh with it. So yeah, it's and Mindy's on my side there. It's Mindy when I put a post up on Twitter just going because I was just getting bombarded with I'd put something up and I actually put up a post that had to do with something that happened in Australia with our Prime Minister and some comments that were made, and I put a post up and half of the United States I think jumped on it assuming I was talking about that, and it was just like, hey, Americans. There's other countries, and Mindy was like, retweet, share, yes, and I'm just like, okay.
If you keep saying that, I'm going to pull you off the show. I'm sorry. If you keep...
look, it was going to happen eventually anyway. I'm surprised I've lasted this long. Let's be honest.
So she was there for whenever she said, "Tell him again, Chris." I thought she was patting me on the back. She was talking about you. That's where that Chris, and Christy and Kristen show would become confusing, I think.
Chris squared. I like it. Let's do it.
I know, right? I think we should. I got time. Oh, wait. Oh, her name is Cynthia. I was going to say we could do it on Friday, but it's Cynthia, not Chris. I get them. I'm okay. I'll be okay. So
morning. It's all right.
Now, other countries are just content. Taser. Oh, yes. I forgot about this. I now have the ability. I've been working on my super villain techniques, and I now have the actual ability to taser you. I have taser. So, isn't that great? You heard that?
Just another American with a weapon.
Right. Oh, that's a good idea. No. They won't let us do guns. What are you laughing at, co-host? I've got a taser the co-host button. There you go. See, that's what I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a super chat thing. $2 for me to zap Chris, the atheist pastor. Actually, it's been so long on this. I'll make I'll do it for free. Hell, that's what I do. I just Twitch. But yeah, so I had to do it. I was going to do it yesterday. I was going to taser Andy Hall yesterday, and we had a guest and whatnot, and I just got so distracted with John Funk and all the things. I forgot I had a taser. Thankfully, somebody in the chat reminded me about the taser button. Normally, I'd sit here and taser you until you were lying in a pool of your own urine, but they frown on that on YouTube, and they won't let me do that. So, red alert sound for anyone who starts to talking crazy woo. That's not a bad idea. I think that's a good idea. I've only had the whoop happen once, though, so only once.
I'll send some woo your way. Don't worry.
Thank you. Thank you.
I've got the perfect guest for you.
Do you? Yeah, I think you mentioned it in the chat or in the text before. Do you want to? All right. Before we get too far along, I don't want to forget because I almost forgot it. Tell us about your heretical show because you used to be the atheist pastor and then you changed it to more of a group thing with the hereticals, and it's really kind of taken off. Am I wrong?
Yeah, it's kind of taking an interesting direction. So I feel like I don't sleep anymore, and I just spend all my life streaming. But that's okay. So the channel it's called Atheist Pastor / Hereticals because a lot of people got confused when we did the name change. So we're in the the process of doing things. But at the moment, we've got the Atheist Pastor podcast, which is just basically where one-on-one chat. So I actually had an evangelical fundamentalist Christian who wrote an article on why democracy can't survive without Jesus. So that was my interview yesterday. Ethan, you would have been proud of me. I channeled my very friendly neighborhood atheist, and it was a very civil chat. It was interesting because it was like having a conversation with myself 10 years ago. So it was a really interesting conversation. On Wednesdays, and I say Wednesday night, anything I say night, just assume it's the morning in the US. We've got conspiracies with Bobby Mack and Jay from the Nevermore Tavern, where they tackle a different conspiracy every week. Bobby Mack, he loves his conspiracies. He's everyone's favourite flurf, is what we call him. And Jay, he smashes conspiracies on the head. So it's really interesting listening to those two, a bit like The Odd Couple, but it's really, really cool conversations. We've got Friday Night Six Pack, of course. That's always been there. Friday Night Six Pack, that's where six of us get together and we try and solve all the atheist issues in the world while having a couple of drinks. So this week we're doing weird shit in the Bible.
Oh man, that's going to be. You're going to have plenty of.
It could be a 10-parter.
It could. That's actually how I met you. Was on the Friday Night Six Pack. Somebody, I think it was either Kristin or Dave, drug me over there one day and like, come over here, they're cool and they'll get you on the show, and they threw me up there, and is when I just very first started streaming, and I was shitting myself nervous. I was whenever y'all
really
put me up on. Oh yeah, absolutely.
You were fine.
Yeah, I survived. Yeah,
and look at you now. I mean, feels like only yesterday, and here you are, all these months later, and you're taking over the atheist world.
We're storming the gates of heaven. Or hell, or we're storming somebody's fucking gates. Damn it, gates are being stormed. I'm not sure who they are, but yes, that's kind of the thing. The atheist community has just been absolutely fantastic. You guys, and there's a group of you guys, Jay from the Nevermore Tavern, Mama Atheist, Math Pig, all Dave, all those people who were there when I first got here and we were all together and started. You guys were wonderful in the beginning, helped me get started, and then other people have been helping me since then, and it's just been an amazing community to grow in. And
that's the nice thing about the community is there's so many people who will go out of their way to help. Like the amount of support I've gotten since I started, and I mean, look, there's some douchebags in the community too. Let's be honest, but the majority of people,
#truth.
The majority of people are prepared to go out of their way to help and to grow the community and sort of support and be there for each other. And I love seeing, like the newer, I guess the new crop who's coming through now. It's Ethan. Ethan's kicking some goals, man. Like he has got.
Oh yeah.
I like what Ethan does. I like because it's 6 people in a panel. I mean, it's just like I love it. That's cool. And some interesting topics, and even guys like grumpy old dude Ed. Some of the stuff he's putting out's really cool. Mindy. I mean, Sassy Heathen. I remember coming across one of her videos. I think she had about 20 subs. I'm like, no, 20 subs is not right for this kind of content. We need to get this out there. And Mindy, it's really cool. She's been on Six Pack a couple of times. Really, really cool person.
And very knowledgeable.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know what? We need to do some kind of fundraiser drive to get Ethan a mic. Because, Ethan.
So, I have one of those stupid, what's it called? The things everyone makes a big deal out. Starts with the Y, Yeti. And then after I changed my sound settings, trying to get this phone audio working, it's been quieter. Does it sound okay when I'm right here, or is it still quiet?
Yeah. Okay. You sound okay. Sound okay to me. I like teasing you about it. Anyway, we were going to do a fundraiser for Ethan.
I was going to say, you sound fine. You just got a bit of a funny accent. That's all.
That's all. That's the point you were making, Chris, about these new people. There's a lot of them, and they're doing amazing works. Hey, you've seen TART, right? The Atheist Roundtable group. Atheist, Jesus Mike and Pasta Mike and Oz. Have you met those guys yet?
No, I haven't.
No, they are fantastic. They run a show. I think Pasta Mike is in the chat. Pasta Mike, I need you to get with Chris, the Atheist Pastor, and get him on your show, the Atheist Roundtable. It's Absolutely. A lot of fun. They are a hoot. It's, remember you and I we've talked about some of the things I'd like to do on the Daily Atheist morning show, like having, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Bob and Tom.
Agreed it was best for you to keep your clothes on.
I know. This time.
Yeah.
This time. But that, hey, don't judge.
We'll do the special one over on the other.
Yeah. On the Yoga Pant Try-On channel? Okay, all right. We'll do that over there. Anyway, so some of the things I wanted to do were like having a call-in show. Like Bob and Tom, they've got this comedian. What the hell's his name? I don't remember his name. He calls in on the show, and they have a good time with it, and it's a lot of fun. I wanted to do that sort of thing. They do that sort of thing over there. They actually have 4 or 5 different people who produce the show, and a couple of them host, and they do different things, and they'll call you, and it was amazing. They had Slaughter Shed Steve, is that right? I'm sorry, Steve. Sorry if I'm forgetting. I forget their names. There's so many of them. But you should get over there and get on their show. They're a lot of fun. Who are Bob and Tom? Bob and Tom are a lot of fun. There are a couple of... Actually, Bob and Tom's a DJ. Morning show. They run 4 hours. It's a morning show. They got Bob and Tom and Chick McGee and Christy Lee. So it's actually 4 people, even though it says... And that's kind of the direction I want. Like a morning show. That's what I wanted my Friday. So they are a lot of fun, though. And they usually do it in the evenings. I don't know how that'd work out, but you can get with Pasta Mike. He's in the chat. At Ethan. Okay, cool. Pasta at Tart Dar Live. Pasta at Tot Dart Live.
I believe it's Tart.live.
Thank you. I was having a hard time with it. Anyway, go hang out with them. They're wonderful.
Everything sounds better with an Australian accent anyway, so...
Is that what that is? Okay. Tell your lies to someone else. Well, I can't. We always joke about the Australia thing. I don't even hear my accent anymore, but they say I still have it. So.
You
morning show in Michigan. Yeah, an American accent. I knew that.
Yeah.
But okay, so let me. No, go ahead, Ethan.
No, I wanted to jump back to something Chris said earlier when he said he channeled his inner, friendly neighborhood atheist to remain calm. And I will say, typically, it's easy for me to remain. I don't want to say easy, but I can remain calm because specifically with Republicans, even though they're frustrating, when I hear them talk, I am literally just picturing myself talking to myself from 10 years ago, and I'm like, okay. They're not actually understanding what they're missing here. I just need to find the hole or the crack in the foundation, the same thing that happened to me, so I can make all that crap crumble away. It's just, I don't know. There's a way to get through to these people. Just got to find it.
I mean, look, there's some people out there that I think you basically need to tell them where to go. So, Darth, you're watching. That's it. But it's, my view and the conversation I had last night, I remember back when I was that person. And if some atheists had have come across at me and been all smarmy and, I'm an intellectual atheist and you're just a dumb Christian and tried to smash and insult my belief, then I would have just shut out and I would have just gone, you're an asshole and I'll have nothing to do with you. So we ended up having a really good discussion. It's the article that he wrote. There was a few holes I was able to poke in it from a historical point of view. He put a few things in that weren't accurate to do with like Greek democracy, things like that. And being a historian, I could sort of go, well, actually, this, and this. And he was actually receptive. He said, well, I didn't know that, and thanks for letting me know and correct it. But then it was an interesting conversation. We covered a lot of things. He was trying to understand how I could, I guess, hold the political views I do while being an atheist. He thought that was a bit strange. And also he was trying to understand how someone who was in my position, because when we were talking, I was telling him some of the people I used to work with, and he's just like, they're all people who are fairly senior within the Australian Christian movement. And he was just, how did this happen? How did you fall away? Like, what happened? So we had that conversation. It was interesting, and hopefully it'll be the first of many conversations with him, because it was a good, respectful conversation.
I want to take a moment real quick and say thank you to Paul Cammish for the £4.99 support to the channel. He says for me to have a coffee and for me to taser Chris. And you know what? I don't mind. Again, I would have done that for free. Yeah, so that's a little OBS. I've been working my butt off on OBS. That's a lot of fun. Oops, I did it again. Sorry. If only I could just get it to go through the internet. Anyway. Thank you, Paul, for the super chat. Appreciate it very much. Yeah, carry on, Chris. You were saying about the person at the place with the thing. I got distracted by my taser.
Oh no, I was just agreeing with Ethan, and but it was funny because afterwards, because Ethan came on to, I think it was on Six Pack actually, and when we had a conversation on Six Pack about the way that Ethan approaches things and how he tends to do it as probably a lot more much more calmer way than I think a lot of us do. And I think it came about because he said that he'd actually had a reasonable conversation with Darth Dawkins, which we all kind of sat back in shock and horror. Right. But it was funny because after I did the interview last night, the first thing I thought was, Ethan would really like that. Ethan would have been proud of me.
Well, I'm very excited when people stay calm and engage in healthy dialogue, and they're nicer. To me, that's the quickest way we're going to make a difference.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to balance it out by yelling abuse at someone at some point. But yeah,
I want to say I don't because I don't disagree with Ethan. Nor do I disagree with Ethan's method or anything like that. I agree with Ethan's method. The deal, sometimes it may seem like I do because I get on ranty Chris and I engage people in fashion that Ethan wouldn't because I have a more aggressive technique per se than he does. Yeah, I know, right? Who'd have thought? Right? I know. I'm just as surprised as you. I know, but I don't disagree with Ethan. My thing is there's like you said, some people like you, Chris, said some people out there kind of deserve. They're not going to change. You have to be that way with them. This problem of religion is a diamond of many facets, and there are many of us. Somebody there's a need for all of us. That's kind of what I'm saying. There is a need absolutely for what Ethan does.
A wise man who never existed once said, "Do unto others as they would do unto you." And maybe that's some good advice. Yeah, and look, I look at it this way. If I'm having a conversation with someone and they're genuinely wanting to engage and genuinely, we can have a conversation, even if we disagree and we're not going to change each other's minds, fantastic. I think that I don't think we get anywhere by living in a bubble. I think it's good to have those conversations outside. But by the same token, if someone's going to be a complete, wanker, then I'm going to treat them as such. If someone starts yelling at me, if they start abusing me, well, I'm going to return fire tenfold. So, that's the way I look at things. And a classic example is my conspiracy show. Bobby Mack is a flat earther who's talking to Jay, who is like a conspiracy debunker, but they have a respectful conversation, and it's really cool. So it's all about I think you judge each person that you're speaking to, by how the conversation's going. Which is why no one could ever have an angry conversation with Ethan.
Well, Ethan's a lot of fun. He's everywhere. Go ahead, Ethan.
Oh, I just always, there are times where people still are like, why are you being so nice? Or why are you doing this? And I just want to remind everyone that Daryl Davis converted or got, he got several KKK members who stopped being white supremacists just by being their friend and nothing else. And to me, that shows not that I'm suggesting that to anyone. I'm just saying I think there's other ways we can make a difference. And if we were a little bit more patient with everybody. Like me, when someone yells at me, okay, I don't want them to get the satisfaction knowing that they were able to get me to a point where I got angry. I'm not saying it's never going to happen. I'm human, but I don't want somebody to have that kind of power over me.
Right. And too often people let that happen. And that's what we were talking about with you the other day. Wasn't it you who was discussing with the Mormon? No, it wasn't.
Not me, no.
It was John Funk who was debating with a Mormon, and he was doing something similar to you. He was being more gloves on than I normally would. And he explained that, you know, you kind of have to, because if you win and they rage quit and leave, show's over. I mean, it's done. And he didn't want her or them to rage quit and leave and do that sort of thing. So yeah, it makes sense. Well, for various reasons, of course.
Right. And typically once the anger starts and people start getting angry, their defenses go up, and they don't actually listen to what you're saying. They just take their heels, they ground them into the ground more, and now you really have no chance of changing their mind.
And then by the same token, I think it's still important to defend a point of view. It's I guess, and to ask the hard questions. It's funny you mentioned Mormons. I was on having a chat with some Mormons, and it was a fairly respectful conversation. But by the same, you know, I wasn't, when they were putting things out there that weren't accurate, weren't true. You know, I think you've still got to say, well, hang on, no, that's not right, that's incorrect, and I think you've got to be firm in your arguments and your discussions. I don't think you can let people walk all over you, which some people, and you've got to be a little bit careful when you're a bit too kind, that they'll try it on. And I think so long as you're aware of that, and you don't mind sort of smacking them back down if they need it, you know, that can be good.
Oh, I agree. When there are people that will and that have pushed me too far, and I'm not going to be like, oh, la-di-da, whatever. Of course, I have my hard lines where I'm going to be like, all right, back the never mind. You know what I was about to say, back off. So I don't know where I was going with that. I totally spaced out.
Well, it's okay. You know, the rage here is he's kind of in the chat talking. He says he disagrees. He says if you can show them, I'm not sure if he's talking specifically about, I think he's talking about what you and, did I hit the wrong button? Pardon me. There you are, Atheist Bastard. The way you and John Funk approach those guests on your show. He says, if you can show them that they are bad faith actors, obviously he means when they are bad faith actors. I don't think they were specifically in your case. And they feel guilt or shame from being exposed. It does work.
I agree.
He has had several Christians tell him his approach has led to them being skeptics. Yeah.
I think you've got to know your audience. I think you've got to know who you're having the conversation with. Yes. Definitely the way Nock does things is awesome. I've got to say, I really enjoy watching his content. I love the rage. It's just it's good fun. And look, I've gone down that path plenty of times. I think the conversation last night, I was having it was weird because I was talking to this guy and I'm like, man, this is me 10 years ago. It's like I'm having a conversation. Yeah, he was a lot better looking than me and had nicer hair, but it was like I was having a conversation with myself 10 years ago, and it was a little bit surreal because I sort of had to think, how would I react? It was almost like I was playing a game of chess. It was almost like, okay, so if I say this, what would I have said? And you know, he was throwing out the exact same lines, and probably because his involvement is in the same circles as the ones I used to run in. And I sort of thought, well, you know what? I'm going to have a good conversation with him because in 10 years' time, he might be me now.
And that's
very true.
And real quick with the rage, I'm not saying my method works all the time and other methods don't. I agree with Chris. We need all varying methods and different approaches because everyone is going to change their mind in a different way. So yes, I agree with you. I'm totally having trouble like formulating my thoughts today, and I haven't even had any weed.
I think that's your problem.
Rage here says, he mentions in the chat, yeah, it depends on who you're talking to, dishonest interlocutors, hate mongers, as opposed to someone like that Christian vlogger or Randall Rouser or Spartan. You know, I obviously we get who we're talking about. They're not all the same. Some of them are obviously, I want to think some of them are, you know, no, it's too, there's just too many to lump into a specific group. I can't say they're all crazy. They're not disillusioned. They're not delusional. You can't say that about all of them, you know, despite the fact that we want to.
No, I think it's important to remember religious belief or belief in general it's something that we're conditioned to as humans. I mean, it's part of our evolution. You know, we evolved by, you know, as a social species, by communicating with each other, having those things in common, and you know, making up stories. Essentially, it was our ability to invent things. I mean, you know, we invent borders, we invent money, we invent all these things that aren't real, and religion is a part of that. So we can't always help it, and I think back to, you know, I think back to some of the weird stuff I've believed, and yeah, all of us at some stage have probably believed something that's a little bit out there, and realistically, that's just a part of who we are in our evolution. Even the tribal side of things, you know, it's religion can become very tribal. It's similar to politics, and I definitely don't want to get into a politics chat, but people who are on certain, if you follow one side of politics, it can be very tribal, or even sporting teams. You know, I know if anyone were to say anything bad about those Minnesota Vikings, you would be all over them.
So he's just trying to get bounced from the show. Where is he? Where I can bounce? No, you're right. I want to thank Dragons in Genesis Podcast, Jason, for the $2 of support for the channel. Thank you very much. He says to zap Ethan and his spaced out brain to get his spaced out brain working. So I'm going to zap. I'm sorry.
I know. Seriously, I need to get with it. My brain's just not there today. I think it was because when I woke up, my alarm went off today. I was already awake. And then it got the reminder for your show, and I'm like, no, that's Thursdays. It all threw me off.
Well, I'm going to do it. So I've given warning, Miss Epileptic Skeptic. That, you know, good point. I close your eyes because I want to zap Ethan, but I'll fix that so it doesn't flash like that later, okay? Because I totally get it. I didn't think of that. I was just kind of like being technical, nerdy, cool. You know, I actually have the sound run over here, and it does a thing. And it's if you knew how it all worked. Here we go. I'm going to taser Ethan though for Jason because he. All right, here we go. All right, you're right. Actually, I'm going to put Ethan big. There we go. We're going to taser. All right, thank you very much. And it didn't flash. Oh, it flashed on Atheist Pastor. I'm sorry. So there we go. There. Now we're flashing Ethan. And we're tasering Ethan. Lightning on Ethan. He went away. He didn't. All right. So now he's back. It was like his shield of protection. He closed his eyes too. So I'll work on that.
The armor of God.
True that. I'll try to figure that out. So because I want it to be fun. It's supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be offensive to anyone. You know what? I got to be honest. I knew somebody was going to be upset with it in one fashion or another. I just knew. I was just kind of curious how long I could get away with it. I thought if I don't use it a lot, really it's meant for Sci-Fi Saturday for people who come on my show who've never seen Star Wars or Star Trek and yet asked to be on the Sci-Fi show.
How can you have people on a sci-fi show who have never seen Star Wars or Star Trek?
Preach, my brother, preach. And see, that's what I'm saying to people. I'll get an email going, hey, Chris, can we be on the show? We love the show. And I'm like, okay, come on the show. And they get on the show. I'm like, so tell me, what do you like about sci-fi? And they're like, well, you know, we watched this sci-fi movie and it was, I don't remember what it was. And that's all their sci-fi. They've never seen Star Trek. They've never seen Star Wars. That's what these taser buttons were originally for. And if you've been watching my show, you know, at some point, especially on sci-fi, I would go, oh, if only I had a zap button, I would taser you. How do you get on my show and not know sci-fi?
Yeah. I would do that. I haven't seen some of the more obscure. So if someone says they haven't seen Babylon 5, which is the greatest sci-fi ever. Okay, that's you can still find other things.
Well, I'm slack. Yeah.
But Star Wars, I mean, it's Star Wars.
How have they not seen Star Wars?
Regarding Star Trek, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Regarding, I still think Voyager is the best of all the Star Treks.
See, you've seen Star Trek though. That's the whole deal. Had you come on the show,
that's not my favorite. I was hoping to trigger you with that.
Oh no. Totally everybody has their own weird quirks. I don't kink shame on the show.
I was about to agree with you. That really would have upset everyone.
Right. See, as a matter of fact, I had one gentleman on the show, and I get it. You know, who was it? Was it Tiger? Do you guys remember Tiger? He got on the show. He's like, I haven't seen any sci-fi since 1990. Anything newer than 1990, he had not seen. Like, how did you get on my show? But now I have a button, a real button.
Maybe you need to send a questionnaire through when people say, "Can I be on Sci-Fi Saturday?" Say, "Yeah, sure." Here's a questionnaire, and you're not allowed to Google the answers.
Right. Well, no, I totally get what they're saying as far as Epileptic Skeptic mentioned about the lightning, because I don't know if you've noticed it on the screen. When I hit the button, it actually flashes lightning over your face.
I think I did
it's
see
not just
like
sound. I'm tasering your ass. So maybe I suggested maybe instead of the flashing light, I might just pop up a little box like on the old Batman show where it goes zap. During the sound noise instead of because I get it. I don't want
pow as well.
Pow. See pow too. That'd be great. Somebody also suggested the red alert. Red alert. Oh, that'd be fun. Red alert. Whenever you're getting ranty, Chris, I could press the red alert button. Ooh, the red alert button could disable all the co-hosts and guests' mics so they don't interrupt me during ranty, Chris. Because sometimes I'll be like, yes, and blah, and blah, and blah, and blah, and the host will be going, but Chris, blah, 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 blah. And they interrupt my thing to go blah, blah. I'm like, hey, I had ranty, Chris. So if I push the button, power mad.
It's gone to his head, people. It's gone to his head. Okay.
Power mad. I get it. I'm gonna have to rewatch and go through the chat to make sure I got everything. It's kind of crazy, because these new buttons that I spent a lot of time working on making the sound and everything, so I can do these kind of things. Because again, I want a funny morning show to be fun, not necessarily to be all serious atheist death serious atheist death serious. Anyway, all right. So let me do this thing though, real quick, guys. We are. We're most of the way through the hour. I want to touch just a little bit about weed, Weed Wednesday, because I got you. And I want to ask you. So, Chris, where you're from in Australia, it's not legal yet.
No,
there is a place that's the weed capital of the world, but other than that, it's not legal yet.
We definitely have the weed capital of the world, Nimbin. Just Google Nimbin, NIMBIN, I think it is. I don't even think the locals know how to spell it, to be honest. But it's a pretty out there. Look, I don't think anyone wears anything that isn't made out of hemp. But actually, you know what? It's okay. Weed Wednesday. So I've got some interesting weed historical facts for you. I'm actually writing a paper at the moment.
I'm very jealous of your hair, by the way. I had to say that. Carry on. You're writing something?
Writing a paper at the moment on the Amazons. So, familiar with the Amazons, the warrior women. Mm-hmm. So it turns out, so Herodotus, who's an ancient Greek historian, writes about, and a lot of people thought that the Amazons, the warrior women were mythical. Turns out they're not. And it turns out that they liked a bit of the old wacky tobacco. And actually made trousers. They were actually amongst the first to wear trousers, and they made them out of hemp, which is that and the advent of horses and taming horses is what actually allowed them as women to be able to compete with the men at the time. So, but it's actually something I came across today. So Herodotus writes that they enjoyed hemp both for clothing and for recreation. And there's been a few. So we know that the Amazonians were probably the Scythians, which is like I guess Ukraine, Russia, sort of that area in the steppes there. And they've actually found burials where the women are buried and their smoking devices are with them. So they're buried with their smoking devices. Yeah.
I did not know that. Well, first of all, surprised to know anything about the Amazons. I thought it was a total myth. I'll have to now go look it up. And I'll be like, Chris said, I'll have to go look it up. I thought they were a total myth. I knew there was a lot of things made out of hemp. The Gutenberg Bible is printed on hemp paper. The sails on the ships that brought all the slaves over here were made of hemp. What's that, Chris?
I was just saying I dare you to smoke the Gutenberg Bible.
Yeah, they've frowned on it. But then again... Right? Unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know. But hemp doesn't. There's different kinds of hemp that doesn't necessarily get you high. So it wouldn't necessarily get you high. Just like smoking a hemp rope. I was going to say the sails and the ropes on the ships used to bring the people over to the New World were all made of hemp. I don't really think you could smoke them and get high from it, though. I don't think that's.
Maybe you should try it. Try it and get back to us, okay?
Well, let's go find that Gutenberg Bible. Where's that at? We'll start with that.
But no, so in Australia at the moment, there was one of our territories, so the Australian Capital Territory, which is essentially Canberra, but because there was a fight between two states as to where the capital would be, they just went, all right, territory in the middle. So they did legalise it. It was a bit of a funny thing. It was legal to grow it. It was legal to have it, but it wasn't legal to smoke it. Or there was some weird kind of ruling, and it was there was 5 days where it was legal before the federal government stepped in and said you can't actually make that law. It turns out that they made a law that they shouldn't. They sort of overstepped what their bounds were. But there's a bit of a movement to, especially up in Queensland. Queensland is really good temperature for growing it. So there's a big push for for hemp farms essentially, and of course to grow it for medicinal purposes.
Well, there are some people out there who like to use marijuana for recreational needs and purposes. No, I don't know who those people may be. There are anonymous people out there who do it. But there are also people out there such as Ethan who have legitimate medical needs and uses that he applies these 4 courses. I don't know if Ethan likes it for recreational needs as well.
Of course I do.
I didn't want to speak for you. But there are a great many real medicinal needs out there. We've got creams. You've bought what's that stuff? Bengay or something to put on your sore muscles. Well, they make cream out of cannabis that you can do that exact same thing with.
Yeah, cannabis oils are really good for pain relief as well. And yes. I know a lot of epileptics. So a mate of mine, he's an epileptic, and he may or may not occasionally do something that I don't know about, of course. But allegedly, it would be very good for his epilepsy. So there's certainly there's a good argument to be made that for medicinal purposes. My attitude is, I think if people want to do it, so long as you're not smoking, a ton of joints and then jumping behind the wheel, and I think so long as you've got probably the same sort of sensibility and responsibility that you would with alcohol, you know what?
Yeah,
do what you want. That's what I say.
Well, as somebody who's possibly experienced years of use, but I've always been a cannabis user. I had a period in my youth of being a person who drank alcohol, but not like some people. And I've seen those people who stuck with it, who were loyal and dedicated, and it's hard. It's hard on the body. It tears people up. Alcohol and cannabis are not the same. It's unfortunate that people put them in the same group.
I think it's more for when I say that, it's probably more for I wouldn't want someone to go and pull a few bongs and then jump behind the wheel of a car. Things along those. I think there needs to be that certain. Actually, that's probably about the only regulation I could think of, to be honest. It's but I think it's just a bit of it's pretty much whatever the rules are for alcohol. I would have I'd make it an 18 plus, which alcohol's 18 plus in Australia. So I'd have similar rules along those lines.
Yeah,
and look, I've had a friend in high school who smoked way too much and got schizophrenia, and they blamed what he was smoking on the schizophrenia, and in all fairness, this is someone who was doing it in like ridiculous sort of amounts. Like he couldn't get through 5 minutes without pulling a bong. So he was, I think excess of anything is going to be bad. No,
it could be that his mental issues led to his over dependency on the cannabis, rather than his cannabis leading to his mental dependency.
20 years ago, I think they probably were quick to diagnose things. I don't think they had the same understanding then that we have now.
True.
Look, I'll be honest, I haven't spoken to him for 20 years. He kind of went down one path, I went down another.
Of course,
it's... But no, it's I'm very much let people do what they want, so long as it doesn't hurt anyone else. Hey, what's the harm?
Well, one of the things I want to do on the show here is I want to talk and educate, because we just haven't been able to find somebody with the right kind of knowledge to come. Lots of people go, yeah, man, I've smoked weed for a long time. Let me be on the show. You've got this and you got that. No, I want somebody who really knows, and otherwise I'm going to probably stop doing the Weed Wednesday and just focus on just whatever other topic, because unless I can start getting some actual cannabis real people on here, because that's what this is more about learning. And there's so many things that have changed here in the United States as people have gotten their medications, like Ethan. That's the reason why I wanted to mention Ethan, because he has got this battery of old medications that he used to take that he has replaced with cannabis. That's kind of a great example. A lot of people use it for... Go ahead, Ethan. Sorry, man. But there's a deal where anytime somebody else is speaking, it just mutes your microphone at all completely. So really? I don't mean to speak over you. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no problem. No, it's so real quick. Puck challenged me on this, and without me technically coming off the marijuana and seeing if everything comes back, can I 100% say that it was the marijuana that did this? I guess technically not, without being able to test or repeat this, but at the same time, I don't think I'm willing to do that, because if I go back to what I was before, I wouldn't be doing this. So it would totally suck. But yeah, it really, in my opinion, it has done wonders for my life and allowed me to become myself again.
See, I think there's a stigma with it, and I think it's a hangover from, times long gone, where the whole drugs are bad, and we must sort of control everything, and you shan't have any. I mean, there was prohibition on alcohol at one point too, and I think a lot of it is actually religious in nature. I think it's very much, they don't want anything. I mean, there's some religions that ban coffee out there. I mean, what a horrible thing. Imagine not being able to have a coffee. But I think society is seeing the benefits of things like, especially from the medicinal side of things for marijuana. And I think so. I think as far as the recreational side, you know what? Legalize it, tax it, because that's how governments get money. It's why have it go through a black market? Let it be regulated, let it be taxed. Have some rules and regulations surrounding it. And you know what? When it's, I would imagine that when it's legalized, the quality that you can get, because it is regulated, and exactly what you get. You're not just getting whatever's in the baggie from the man in the funny car, which is what I've allegedly heard happens. You've got better control over the quality. I mean, look, there's some people who might like a stronger one, because they're more regular smokers, and that's what's going to do it for them. But by the same token, then that one person who might have the occasional puff and just decides to have a once a month sit down and do that, if they have the same thing, they're going to green out pretty badly. So at least then there's the option for that person to have something a bit lighter. See, it amazes me. I mean, we live in Western democracies that are capitalist. I mean, there's taxes to be made. There's money to be made. People legalize it.
Yeah. Right. It's a surprise that they waited that long to do it. And even here in the States, most often it goes medicinal first and then recreational. We've got plenty of studies now, or plenty of examples, whatever you want to call it, to know that weed is not as harmful as they said it was. If it was, and yet I tell you, man, they still will sell a tiny, tiny little bit of plant in these huge. I don't have one right here in front of me. Normally they sell them in little plastic things that are childproof and whatnot. But I mean, sometimes they sell this tiny, tiny little bit of plant. It's going to be used for minutes, and then this jar goes in the trash in these heavy duty, big fancy jars. Have you guys, not you, obviously, Atheist Pastor, Ethan, have you seen that? It's like this mad amount of waste that they use into packaging medicinal and recreational marijuana. Anybody else notice that? Have you potheads out there?
Yeah, I don't get it. I like, especially like these big aluminum cans, all this stuff. It's like there's got to be a much better way to do that than the packaging they're currently using.
I'll be right back. I don't normally. Let me just disappear off for a second.
All right, now that Chris is gone, let's talk about him behind his back.
Oh, you can still hear him.
Right. Oh, okay, so yeah, I can still hear you. Peep this, my homies. This here contained 1 gram of plant. It's a glass jar. It's childproof, heavy duty. You know, do they not recycle this stuff? Can we not? I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Normally, it comes in stuff like this, these little plastic, and even that I think is a little more wasteful. The drug dealers of old were onto something when they sold it to you in a Ziploc baggie. I'm just saying, I don't know where are you, Ethan? What state are you in?
I'm outside of Chicago, Illinois.
Illinois. Okay, so same thing for you then. Big, huge packaging such as this. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing, huh?
So what's the actual size of what you've got in there? And being mindful that you may not be able to show it on YouTube.
Yeah. Oh no, it's it's gone. It's empty. It was good.
I'm seeing in the chat, and people are saying that it's always medicinal first, then recreational. The reality is, if you make it medicinal, it's I have chronic back pain, and I do have chronic back pain. I could go and get it, but it wouldn't be hard to go to a doctor and say, I've got this condition. Can you prescribe me with this? And they're probably just going to write you the script for it. So you may as well, if you're going to legalize it, I think just legalize it.
Kristin's got an idea there in the chat. I wonder if they would refill if you could just take the jars back that you have and they would fill them, or we used to take some of the little plastic ones back a long time ago, but I don't think they take them anymore. We'll have to figure that out. It's worth looking into because I tell you,
incidentally. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Incidentally.
I was saying, incidentally, who owns most of the marijuana business in the United States?
No, I don't.
Mike Tyson.
Marlboro?
Iron Mike. Mike Tyson.
Really?
He's pretty much the biggest. He's made more money from that than he made from boxing. But
really?
He invested in getting it all set up, and when it was legalized, he saw the money. So Mike Tyson.
Really? Wow.
Who apparently smokes copious and started the business to support his habit. And smokes ridiculous amounts of weed every day.
So Mike Tyson, what you're telling me, is some kind of secret super genius.
Apparently so. Who would have thunk it?
And we didn't realize it. Clearly. I mean, by the example set forth.
I mean, if Mike Tyson was in front of me, I would absolutely say that he is a genius. He's one of the smartest, best looking, and nicest people you'd ever want to meet. Don't punch me.
Yeah, well, when you build a weed empire to support your habit, that's some genius, right? I'm just giving him the credit where credit is due. Let me check the chat. Yeah, I don't know. Native Atheist says he's never smoked weed before. Yeah, I'm sure they would. There's a lot of places that still consider it a terminable offense. That's true. All right, guys, we have done the hour. I am going to go ahead and say goodbye to you, and thank you both for being on the show. It has once again been wonderful. Ethan, thank you for coming back and being co-host for Weed Wednesday. We changed Ethan to Wednesday so we can talk about cannabis. Again, if I can't find more educational stuff to bring to the show on Weed Wednesday, we'll just do a normal show. And thank you, Chris, for joining us again. Many moons it's been since you've been on the show.
Well, let's make sure that the next time it's not so long. I think it's whenever you've got a gap, hit me up and I'll gladly come on.
Okay, excellent. And we'll get you doing some co-host and stuff too, because I'm not above pouring out my friends and making them work.
I'm good at being whored out. Don't you worry.
Excellent.
So, if I could, real quick, I just want to promote the roundtable tonight.
Okay, please. Absolutely.
Tonight at 7 p.m. Central Daylight Time, it will be Jenna Belk, Cynthia McDonald, Kenneth Leonard, Puck, and Rick Lockhart. So,
Rick is fun.
He is. He's a good guy.
I know. You know, I had some. Kristin even asked if I would be interested in having Rick on as a regular co-host.
You should.
Well, you know,
back to work.
What's that?
Until he goes back to work, I think that would show a powerful message, having a Christian co-host on an atheist show.
Yeah, well, see, that's the question. Is that the message we want to send?
That's the message we're working together.
It gets complicated. Well, yeah, on your friendly neighborhood atheist show channel, that indeed is the mission. But that's not necessarily the mission on the Daily Atheist Morning Show channel. But Rick is so obviously awesome and wonderful and so much fun that I don't have a problem with it. It was actually Kristin that made the suggestion. If Kristin doesn't mind, the wife really enjoys Rick. You know, she really enjoyed his. Well, she shared similar things that Trina shared in the chat. You know, it's like, damn, he's gay. I missed out kind of thing. I'm like, woman. Anyway, yeah, he's a lot of fun. I'd love to have him.
I was going to say quickly, something I forgot to mention, another show that I've just started, Over and Under. So it's on Steve McRae's channel. It's a politics talk show. It's on at, I don't know what time it is. I think it's like 9 p.m. Western Pacific time in the US. So if you want to see someone argue with Steve McRae, come and check it out.
It's okay. Is that the goal of your show, arguing with him? I didn't know. I knew you did something with him. I just didn't. Yeah, my head's.
It's interesting because it's and once again we hold different opinions on things, but we break down a lot of the news and sort of look at what's happening behind and sort of pick it where both sides are maybe throwing a few little false narratives out there. So it's amazing how much it happens in the media. The media. I mean, I tell you what.
Craziness.
Shocking.
You know, tomorrow we're going to have our new Thursday co-host. I'm going to go ahead and say new Thursday co-host. Because I really like the guy. So far, everybody seems to really like the guy. He wants to be a regular co-host. I was like, all right, fine. I'll let you be a co-host for this Thursday. And that's Christian Watkins. Cool. But I like him so much. Thursday. Co-host. What's that?
I'm just kidding. I love Christian. He's awesome. I just love giving him a hard time. Never mind. He's a good guy.
Yeah, no.
Subscribe.
He seems like a really nice guy.
He's a lot of fun. He's got some Bible knowledge for as young as he is. He's just great. But he comes at me and he's like, "I want to be your Thursday co-host. I want to." You know, it's like normally you ask people to be. You don't. I mean, when somebody kind of pushes their way into something, you kind of resist it. You're like, "What? What's wrong?" You know. I was like, "All right, I'll let you do it once." And we'll see how. But then I just went and watched his show, and I've had him on. He's just been so much fun. I'm just going to let him do it because. Anyway, he's going to be joining us tomorrow with Dragnut Silvas. He's going to be on the show tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun. I know. I've never had him on the show all this time. Never had him on the show. I want to say thank you to all the people in the chat, the Damnation. Good morning. Thank you for joining us today and for welcoming Chris, the Atheist Pastor, back. He's going to be back again not too terribly long in the future. This little guy over here. And thank you to everybody watching on Facebook. Thank you to the YouTube reviewer for watching all that. I can tell Ethan wants to say something because he leans forward until his face disappears. So what were you going to say, Ethan?
I can't hear him.
It's your turn, brother. I like how he's got us to be able to see the show, but he's sitting over there with his face all in the thing. He's like, "Hi, everybody." No, I'm sorry, Ethan. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
He's going to talk.
No, I'm excited. Tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Sci-10 will be on my channel. So I am really excited about that one.
Awesome. That's great. You know, you feel free to invite them to be on the morning show if you want. If you want to, you know, anybody that you have on your other shows, feel free to bring them with you.
I don't think you. I was about to say, I don't think you would want. I don't know if you'd want Sci on your channel. I know a lot of people are not.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that brings us back to that conversation about me vetting my people. Good point. Thank you for that, Ethan. You're a good man.
Ethan, but do not cop any crap from him. Get familiar with the pre-sup argument because pre-sup is garbage. And just remember, he is, even though he is absolutely wrong in what he says, He's very practiced and very good at what he does, and he's very dishonest, and he will clip bits to make you look silly.
Oh, I know. I got to be careful. And I mean, he'll be able to, if it was a debate, he would be able to run circles around me. I am not a debater at all. Like, pre-sups get me once they go, well, how do you know? I'm like, I don't know, man. I just know. I'm like, I'm trying to learn epistemology, but I'm just an average dude. I don't know how to explain what I know and why I know it.
And it's don't just be prepared. He'll use the big philosophical terms that are generally just garble, but they sound impressive.
Right.
But if you're you and you're just having a conversation with him, it could be an interesting conversation. If he's trying to lead you down the rabbit hole, just be prepared.
I will.
But smash him for us.
Hell yeah. See you, Sassy Heathen is leaving. Have a great day. Take care. I'm going to go ahead and close out the show, guys. Thank you all. Thank you, guys. Jason in Genesis Podcast. Thank you for your super chat. Thank you, Paul Cammish, for your super chat. Rick Lockhart, the Rick Lockhart is here. The handsome man is here in the chat. He just popped up. Hi, Rick. Thank you. We were talking about you. Because we're bad. I guess we're the stalkers, technically. Anyway, good morning, everybody. Thank you all for joining us. We will see you tomorrow, Thursday, for Christian Watkins and Dragnot Silvis. You guys have a great day and take care.
You too. Talk to you later.
Thank you for watching the show. A special shout out to my gold level Patreon supporters, the Blazing Wizard Pope, Ian Davenport, Cindy PLAZA, and tons of mice. Thank you and have a great day.